Hi, hello, welcome to my reselling channel, Flippin Hippos. I'm Star. Today's Monday, so it's time for a highlight reel. All right, full transparency, my sales are still slow. They picked up a little bit this past week since the last video last week that had the thumbnail about the summer slowdown. I definitely was feeling it. I'm still feeling it. The sales are coming back up a little bit, especially on eBay. Over the weekend, last weekend, so 2 weekends ago from when you're watching this, I had changed all of my listings on eBay to calculated shipping and sold a lot of stuff that day. So I don't really know if that was any correlation or it was just the activity of everything getting edited and touched in the store, but I'll take any sales I can get. So yes, sales are still slow, but they are better this week than they were last week. And we might be on that kind of increase. There's like a slow decline, from the end of May. And then there's like a slow incline as we get to the back to school sales and into autumn and then Q4. I did sell on 6 of my 7 platforms. Whatnot it's been dead. Let me tell you, the last thing I sold on there was a horse. Y'all saw that horse. I don't remember what video that was in. It sold on June 29th. So it's been close to a month since I've had a sale on Whatnot. And to be fair, I just do the static listings there now, and it's a live selling platform. So I don't know. When I first started listing my listings on there, I did really, really well. And now not so much. It might be that I'm moving a lot of different items over there now. It might be that more people are listing. I'm going to keep moving them. We'll see what happens. So let me share my screen with y'all. I almost called it Deadpool. Depop. Almost called it Deadpool. Depop was kind of slow. I had one sale there, just a little plushie. And then on Vinted, I had several sales that were nice. And some over here. So Vinted is popping still. Not as much as it was when I first started selling on there. And again, I think that's just the amount of competition when Vinted first came out versus now that everybody's on there. That happens with new platforms, but I'm still selling quite a bit. And since I'm using it to clearance out old items, I'm happy with what's moving. I'm happy to get rid of some old stuff and move forward with new stuff. Mercari had a couple of sales, some boring bread and butter stuff that you guys see on this channel all the time. Boring pays my bills. The boring same old sales that I have every week after week. That's what pays my bills. I had some of those on Mercari, a lot of those on eBay this week. So I've tried to pull out just kind of unique items, different things that I wanted to show you. This is a beaded necklace that sold for $16. It was plastic, but it was pretty. Just to kind of give you an idea of costume jewelry over there. I sold a couple of things on Etsy. I just like to show the prices because costume jewelry doesn't have to be priced as junk. Couple sales on Poshmark. I pulled up just the 2 more unique ones to show you. This only sold for $7. I made $4 and some change, but it's something I got for less than $1 at the church sale. It was in a bag with some other dogs. It was $1 for the bag. It took me 2 seconds to photograph and list. So I'll take it. And it also sold within like 2 days of being listed on Poshmark. So I'll take it. 4 times my money. More than 4 times my money. And a lovey. You guys that have been viewing the channel for any length of time are familiar with loveys. They're square blankets that are like 12 by 12 with a plush animal or doll head in the middle. Sometimes they have arms and legs. Sometimes loveys can be big. They can be like blanket size for a crib, but normally they're this size. Depending on the brand, they can sell anywhere from $12 to $80. I like to keep an eye out for them and grab them when I find them at a price that is affordable. On eBay, this was mine. I have a couple of things in here that were mine, so let's pull them down here together. Y'all know, you've been hearing for months. In March, we spring cleaned our house and we purged a lot of our older items. We went through our comic books, and some of the comic books I had read and I don't really want to collect anymore. So I listed them. This is an I Dream of Jeannie. Now this sat in my drafts since April. It's been in my draft since April. Whenever I would try to comp it, I couldn't find anything. I found photos of her that looked like this, and then I found this comic book that was signed. I couldn't really decide on a price, so it just kind of sat in my drafts since April. And a couple nights ago, I decided I'm just going to put it up for, $12.49 plus shipping. Boom, sold within a day of going up. Would it have sold that fast in April? Probably. Just shows you, don't sit on stuff. Like if you really can't find it or you don't know where to price it, just make up a price. It's better listed than not listed. And this one sold. And then this was mine. I had 2 of these Rocky Horror official poster magazines. I kept them. I enjoyed them. I looked at them. I read them. I had them for a couple of years. It's time to let them go. And the Rocky Horror Picture Show Broadway musical is trending right now. They were live on the Tonys. They performed. It has a stellar cast with a lot of well-known names like Juliette Lewis, Luke. I say they're well-known and I can't remember his name. Anyway, it's a really stellar cast, and they're trending right now because they were on the Tonys and they won a bunch of awards, and ironically this sold. So I have a feeling that has something to do with it. J. Crew, this is a brand I still really love. It does really, really well on Poshmark, but I wanted to show you this because they're shorts and they're unique shorts. I paid $1 for them. All in, this buyer paid like $18. Don't overlook shorts. Denim shorts, cutoff shorts, booty shorts, shorts. All shorts. If you can find them for $2 or less, grab them, because a lot of the brands that you normally wouldn't grab, the shorts will sell. That's been my mantra on here for a long time. Speaking of brands that most people ignore, I found this nightgown for only $1 at the Goodwill. And yeah, it's fashion bug, but it's a plus size, 18-20W. If it's $1 and it's plus size, generally the rule is it's coming home with me, whether it's blouses, dresses, or nightgowns. And all in, this sold for right around $19. I'm just thinking that huge pause there. I've always given you guys, the all-in price, because I did free shipping for like the first 6 years of reselling. And so what it sold for was what it sold for. And then I just paid for the label. I made the switch to flat rate shipping. And I still had that mindset of this is the all-in price that they paid for, because a lot of times the label was a little bit less than what they paid. But now that I've made the switch, none of the sales in this video will reflect the switch yet, but I did make the switch to calculated shipping, and they're paying exactly what the label costs. So now the all-in price, I guess, still matters. I'm not making anything on the labels anymore. And I guess it still matters. Yeah, I sold this for $26.24, but the buyer paid an additional $5 in shipping, making it over $31. And that's what they're willing to pay for the item. So like there's this whole, I sold it for what I sold for, and then this was the cost of the label. Now that's completely separate with the calculated shipping. But still, in my mind, that all-in price is what a buyer is willing to pay for an item. they have to pay the whole thing. So I don't know if I'm going to start saying things differently on my Monday highlight reels or not. But if I do, now you know why. What do you think? Do you have an opinion about it? Isn't this cool? Anything that looks like a horn or a tooth, a shark's tooth, anything like that, I do really well with. I don't find them that often or get them in my bulk buys that often. But when I do, they sell for a good bit and they sell pretty quickly. This is an Old Navy double XL. Sold for $24.99 plus 6 shipping. So that's $30. I talk about Old Navy on this channel a lot. And more recently, in some recent videos, I talked about Old Navy. I told you some anecdotal tales about how I buy all the Old Navy. My friends at the thrift will bring it to me. They don't like the Old Navy. This is why I like the Old Navy. I paid $1 for this. And it sold for $30. And it's Old Navy. It's double XL, sure. And that's, what I typically go for. But it's also very cute and very unique. And I love Old Navy. This is a brand that I normally wouldn't source unless it was plus size. Because again, if it's $1 and it's plus size, it's coming home with me. Liz and me. Size 2X. It's a very pretty shirt. $1 into, they paid $17.49 plus $7.24 shipping. So it's like $25. There you go. Let's come back over here. So those were just some of the cooler items we sold. Like I said, sales are picking up. Most of what I'm selling is either the stuff that I'm deeply discounting or that is the bread and butter, more expensive, more affordable prices is what I meant to say. I feel like the economy is not at its best right now, and a lot of folks don't have discretionary funds to spend. And when that happens, I always notice my lower end volume bread and butter brands sell. Anything I'm clearancing or putting on sale will sell. When people do have discretionary funds to spend, when the economy is good, or in Q4 when people just spend irresponsibly, is when I notice a lot of my higher end items going. I will take whatever sales I can get. I'm a volume-based business. Everything counts. Everything adds up. But I wanted to not bore you this week with the same old stuff over and over again. But fortunately, I sold some really unique items, like the little horn necklace and the 2 magazines, or the comic in the magazine. Some pretty cool stuff to show you this week. Hopefully, sales keep continuing going up this way. I am working on listing a little bit extra, like 10 extra a day here and there where I can when I have the time. And hoping that I can just build up enough that when we get past this hump, I'll be set. I'll be golden for Q4. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know down below. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and the like button because it helps me feed a hungry hippo. And I'll see you in the next one.